What happens when two of music's biggest personalities clash on live television, and one of them decides they've had enough? Well, you're about to find out because today, we're diving into the moment Adam Lambert absolutely lost it on Kelly Clarkson's show and stormed off set, leaving everyone in complete shock. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below because this story is going to blow your mind. It started like any other interview on the Kelly Clarkson show. Kelly, ever the professional, had her warm smile ready as she introduced her guest to the studio audience. The applause was thunderous as Adam Lambert walked out, waving to the crowd with that signature confidence we've all come to know. But what nobody expected was that within minutes, this seemingly normal interview would turn into one of the most uncomfortable moments in daytime television history. Kelly jumped straight into the conversation, her voice bright and enthusiastic. "Adam, it's so great to have you here. You know, I've been following your journey since American Idol, and I have to say, watching you step into Queen has been absolutely incredible." Adam settled into his chair, looking relaxed at first. "Thanks, Kelly. It's been a wild ride, that's for sure. Now, I have to ask," Kelly continued, leaning forward slightly. "There's been so much talk lately about authenticity in music, especially with all these talent shows and manufactured pop stars. As someone who came from a reality show yourself, what's your take on artists who maybe aren't writing their own music or aren't being completely genuine with their image?" The question hung in the air for a moment, and you could almost see Adam processing it. His expression shifted slightly, and there was a pause that felt just a beat too long. "Well, Kelly," Adam began, his tone measured, "I think that's a pretty loaded question. I mean, authenticity is subjective, isn't it? Just because someone comes from a reality show doesn't make them less authentic than someone who was discovered in a coffee shop." Kelly nodded, but there was something in her expression that suggested she wasn't quite satisfied with that answer. "Right. But surely you can understand why some people might feel like there's a difference between someone who's been groomed by producers versus someone who's organically developed their sound." Adam's posture straightened, and for the first time, there was a slight edge to his voice. "Are you suggesting that my success isn't organic? Because I've been performing since I was in high school, Kelly. American Idol was just a platform, not my beginning." "Oh no. Kelly backpedaled quickly, raising her hands. "I wasn't talking about you specifically. I was speaking more generally about the industry." But Adam wasn't buying it. "Were you though? Because it kind of feels like you're implying that artists like me, who gained recognition through television, are somehow less legitimate than artists who didn't." The audience was starting to pick up on the tension. You could hear the uncomfortable shifting in seats, and the energy in the room had definitely changed. Kelly tried to laugh it off, but it came out forced and awkward. "Adam, I think you're reading too much into this," she said, still trying to maintain her cheerful demeanor. "I'm just curious about your perspective on the industry as someone who's experienced it from multiple angles." "My perspective," Adam's voice was getting sharper now. "My perspective is that I've worked my butt off for everything I've achieved, and I didn't need anyone to manufacture my talent or my image. I've been authentic since day one, whether people want to admit it or not." Kelly was clearly starting to realize this was spiraling, but instead of backing down, she doubled down. "But Adam, you have to admit that the music industry has changed. So much, I mean. When I won American Idol, things were different. There wasn't as much focus on image and social media presence." And that's when Adam really started to bristle. "So now you're saying that my success is because of social media and image?" "Kelly, I don't know what you're trying to get at here, but it's starting to feel pretty insulting." The studio audience was dead silent now. Even the band members were looking uncomfortable, and you could see the producers in the background starting to move around frantically. This was clearly not going according to plan. Kelly tried one more time to salvage the situation. "Adam, I'm really not trying to insult you. I'm just trying to have an honest conversation about the state of the music industry." "Honest?" Adam laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You want to have an honest conversation? Then let's be honest. You brought me on this show, and instead of talking about my music or my tour or anything positive, you've spent the last 5 minutes, basically, questioning whether I deserve my success." "That's not what I was doing," Kelly protested, but her voice was getting defensive now too. "Isn't it though?" Adam shot back. "Because from where I'm sitting, it sure sounds like you think artists who came from reality television are somehow second-class citizens in the music world." The tension in the room was absolutely suffocating at this point. Kelly's usual warmth had completely evaporated, and she was looking genuinely flustered for the first time since the interview began. "Adam, I came from the same place you did," she said, her voice rising slightly. "I won American Idol too. Why would I disparage that path?" "I don't know, Kelly," Adam replied, his voice cold now. "Maybe because you've been trying to distance yourself from it ever since. Maybe because you think that now that you're established, you can look down on other people who took the same journey." And that's when Kelly made what might have been the biggest mistake of the entire interview. Instead of apologizing or trying to de-escalate, she got defensive. "Look, Adam, I think you're being way too sensitive about this," she said, and you could practically feel the entire studio cringe at those words. The words hung in the air like a bomb waiting to explode. Too sensitive. You could see Adam's face change completely, and if looks could kill, Kelly would have been done for right then and there. The studio audience collectively held their breath, because everyone knew that telling someone they're being too sensitive is like throwing gasoline on a fire. Adam leaned back in his chair, and when he spoke, his voice was dangerously quiet. "Too sensitive. Did you just tell me I'm being too sensitive?" Kelly seemed to realize her mistake immediately, but it was too late to take it back. "I just meant that maybe you're interpreting my questions in a way I didn't intend." No, Adam said, holding up his hand. "You don't get to backtrack. Now you just dismissed my legitimate concerns by telling me I'm being too sensitive. Do you have any idea how condescending that sounds?" The cameras were still rolling, and you could see the panic in the eyes of everyone working on the show. This was supposed to be a light, promotional interview, and instead, it had turned into a full-blown confrontation on live television. Kelly tried to regain control of the situation. "Adam, let's just take a step back here. I think we've both gotten a little heated, and maybe we should focus on why you're here today. Your tour, your new music." But Adam wasn't having it. "So now, you want to change the subject? After you've spent the last 10 minutes questioning my authenticity and then telling me I'm too sensitive when I call you out on it." "I wasn't questioning your authenticity," Kelly insisted, but her voice lacked conviction now. "Really? Because that's exactly what it sounded like to me. And apparently I'm just being too sensitive, right?" Adam's sarcasm was cutting through the studio like a knife. Kelly was starting to look genuinely upset now. "Adam, I'm trying to have a professional conversation here." "Professional?" Adam laughed bitterly. "You call this professional?" "Kelly, professional would have been asking me about my music, my tours, my experiences with Queen. Professional would have been treating me like the accomplished artist I am, instead of making me defend my entire career path." The tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Even the live studio audience was starting to murmur among themselves, clearly uncomfortable with what they were witnessing. Kelly made another attempt to salvage the interview. "You know what? You're right. Let's talk about Queen. How has it been working with Brian and Roger?" But Adam was done playing nice. "Oh, so now you want to talk about Queen? After you've basically implied that I'm not a real artist, you think you can just pivot to a safe topic and pretend the last 10 minutes didn't happen." "I never said you weren't a real artist," Kelly protested. "You didn't have to say it directly," Adam fired back. "It was clear in every question you asked. The manufactured pop star's comment, the authenticity questions, the implication that reality show contestants are somehow less legitimate. And then, when I called you out on it, you told me I was being too sensitive." Kelly's composure was really starting to crack now. "Adam, I think you're putting words in my mouth." "Am I? Because I'm pretty sure everyone in this studio heard exactly what you said." Adam gestured toward the audience. "I'm pretty sure America heard exactly what you said." The audience was completely silent now, watching this train wreck unfold in real time. You could practically hear a pin drop in that studio. Kelly tried one more time. "Look, Adam, I respect you as an artist. I've always respected you. If I said something that came across wrong, I apologize." But Adam shook his head. "No, Kelly, you don't get to give me a half-hearted apology and expect everything to be okay. You don't respect me as an artist. If you did, you wouldn't have spent this entire interview trying to undermine my credibility." "That's not what I was trying to do," Kelly said, but she was sounding more desperate now. "Then what were you trying to do?" Adam challenged. "Because from where I'm sitting, it seems like you brought me on this show just to tear me down in front of your audience." Kelly's voice was getting higher now, clearly flustered. "That's ridiculous, Adam. Why would I do that?" "I don't know, Kelly, you tell me. Maybe because you think it makes you look better. Maybe because you want to distance yourself from other American Idol winners. Maybe because you think putting me down somehow elevates your own status." The accusation hung in the air, and Kelly's face went pale. "That's completely unfair. Is it though? Because that's exactly what this feels like. You brought me on your show, and instead of celebrating my success, you've spent the entire time making me justify my existence in the music industry." Kelly was clearly struggling now. "Adam, I never meant for it to come across that way." "But it did come across that way," Adam said firmly. "And when I tried to address it, you dismissed my concerns and told me I was being too sensitive. Do you understand how hurtful that is?" The studio was so quiet you could hear the cameras humming. Even the production crew had stopped moving around, transfixed by this unprecedented moment of daytime television drama. Kelly looked like she was about to cry. "I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings, Adam. That truly wasn't my intention." "If you hurt my feelings," Adam repeated incredulously. "Kelly, you didn't hurt my feelings. You disrespected me as a professional and as a person. There's a difference." And that's when Kelly made her second huge mistake of the interview. Instead of taking responsibility, she got defensive again. Adam, I think you're being completely unreasonable right now, she said, her voice taking on an edge. I asked you a few questions about the music industry, and you've turned it into this whole dramatic thing. The look on Adam's face was absolutely priceless. You could see him processing what she'd just said, and it was clear that something inside him had just snapped. Unreasonable. That was the word that broke the camel's back. You could literally see the moment Adam decided he was done with this entire situation. His face went from angry to completely stone cold, and when he spoke, his voice was deadly calm. Unreasonable, he repeated slowly, as if he was tasting the word. So first, I'm too sensitive, and now I'm unreasonable. Kelly, do you hear yourself right now? Kelly seemed to realize she'd made another massive mistake, but instead of backing down, she doubled down yet again. Adam, you're making a mountain out of a molehill here. These were just casual questions about the industry. Casual questions. Adam's voice was rising now. Kelly, you basically called my entire career manufactured, implied I'm not authentic, and then when I defended myself, you told me I was being too sensitive and unreasonable. In what universe is any of that casual? The studio audience was completely captivated by this disaster unfolding before their eyes. This was better than any reality show drama, and they were getting it live and unfiltered. Kelly was getting visibly frustrated now. You know what, Adam? Maybe you are being unreasonable. I've apologized, I've tried to explain my position, and you just keep attacking me. Attacking you. Adam laughed, but it was a harsh, bitter sound. Kelly, I'm defending myself against your attacks. There's a difference, though I can see how you might be confused about that. My attacks. I asked you some questions about the music industry. That's literally my job as a talk show host. Your job as a talk show host is to make your guests feel welcome and comfortable, not to ambush them with loaded questions designed to make them look bad. Adam shot back. Kelly's professional facade was completely cracking now. I didn't ambush you with anything. You're the one who turned this into a confrontation. I turned this into a confrontation. Kelly, are you serious right now? You started this entire thing by questioning whether artists from reality shows are authentic. You brought up manufactured pop stars while interviewing someone who came from American Idol. How did you think I was going to respond to that? I thought you'd have a mature, professional conversation about it, Kelly replied. And you could hear the condescension dripping from her voice. That was it. That was the moment. Adam had absolutely had enough. He stood up from his chair so abruptly that it made a loud scraping sound against the studio floor. The audience gasped collectively. Mature and professional. Adam's voice was echoing through the studio now. You want to talk about mature and professional? Mature and professional would have been asking me about my tour, my music, my experiences. Mature and professional would have been treating me with respect instead of trying to tear me down on national television. Kelly remained seated, but you could see she was shaking slightly. Adam, please sit down. Let's finish this interview. Properly. Finish this interview. Adam laughed, and it was not a pleasant sound. Kelly, this interview was over the moment you decided to disrespect me. I'm not going to sit here and let you continue to belittle me for your audience's entertainment. I'm not belittling you, Kelly protested weakly. Aren't you? You've questioned my authenticity, dismissed my concerns as being too sensitive, called me unreasonable, and now you're talking to me like I'm a child who needs to sit down and behave. How is that not belittling? The production team was clearly in panic mode. Now you could see them frantically gesturing from the sidelines, probably trying to figure out if they should cut to commercial or just let this play out. Kelly made one last desperate attempt to regain control. Adam, you're a guest on my show. The least you could do is show some respect. And that, right there, was the final nail in the coffin. Adam's expression went completely cold, and when he spoke, his voice was like ice. Respect. You want to talk about respect? Kelly, respect is a two-way street. You can't disrespect someone for 20 minutes and then demand they respect you in return. I haven't disrespected you, Kelly said, but even she didn't sound convinced. Anymore, haven't you? Let's recap, shall we? You questioned whether artists from reality shows are authentic. You implied that my success might be due to manufactured image and social media instead of talent. You told me I was being too sensitive when I called you out on it. You called me unreasonable when I continued to defend myself. And now you're demanding that I show you respect while showing me absolutely none. Does that about sum it up? Kelly was looking genuinely distressed now. Adam, please, can we just start over? Start over. Adam shook his head. Kelly, there's no starting over from this. You've shown me exactly who you are and how you really feel about artists like me. I'm not going to sit here and pretend this didn't happen just to make you feel better. The studio was so quiet you could hear people breathing. This was unprecedented territory for daytime television. Guests just didn't do this. They didn't call out their hosts. They didn't refuse to continue interviews. They definitely didn't stand up and prepare to walk out. Kelly was desperately trying to salvage something from this disaster. Adam, think about what you're doing. This is live television. I know exactly what I'm doing. Kelly, I'm standing up for myself. Something you clearly didn't expect me to do, and yes, I know this is live television. That means America gets to see exactly how you treat your guests when you think you can get away with it. That's not fair, Kelly said, and there were actually tears in her eyes now. Fair? You want to talk about fair? Was it fair when you brought me on your show just to question my legitimacy as an artist? Was it fair when you dismissed my concerns as being too sensitive? Was it fair when you called me unreasonable for defending myself? Kelly didn't have an answer for that. She just sat there, looking completely defeated while Adam towered over her, his face a mask of controlled fury. I thought so, Adam said quietly. You know what, Kelly? I've had enough of this. I came here to promote my tour and talk about my music, not to be psychoanalyzed and torn down by someone who should understand better than anyone what this industry is like. He started to remove his microphone, and that's when the reality of what was happening really hit everyone in the studio. The sound of Adam unclipping his microphone was deafening in the silent studio. It was such a small action, but it spoke volumes. This wasn't just someone having a bad interview. This was a complete breakdown of professional courtesy on live television, and everyone knew they were witnessing something that would be talked about for years to come. Kelly watched in horror as Adam carefully placed his microphone on the arm of his chair. Adam, please don't do this, she pleaded, her voice barely above a whisper. Adam looked down at her, and for a moment, his expression softened slightly, but then he shook his head. Kelly, you did this. Not me. You created this situation with your questions, your implications, and your complete lack of respect. I'm just refusing to sit here and take it anymore. But if you leave now, it's going to look terrible for both of us, Kelly said desperately. No, Kelly, it's going to look terrible for you. I'm the one who was attacked here. I'm the one who was disrespected and dismissed. All I'm doing is refusing to be your punching bag any longer. The audience was completely transfixed. Some people were holding up their phones, clearly recording this historic moment of daytime television chaos. Others were just sitting there with their mouths open, unable to believe what they were witnessing. Kelly made one final, desperate plea. Adam, I'm begging you. Please sit back down. Let me make this right. Adam paused for just a moment, and you could see him considering it. But then he shook his head again, more firmly this time. You had 20 minutes to make this right, Kelly. Instead, you made it worse. Every time I tried to address your comments, you escalated the situation. You called me sensitive. You called me unreasonable. And then you demanded that I respect you while showing me none in return. I made mistakes, Kelly admitted, tears now flowing freely down her face. I'm human. Adam, can't you give me a chance to fix this? The time to fix this was before you decided to question my authenticity on live television. The time to fix this was before you dismissed my legitimate concerns. The time to fix this was before you made me defend my entire career. To your audience, the production team was clearly in full panic mode now. You could see people running around in the background, probably trying to figure out if they should cut to commercial, end the show early, or just let this historic meltdown continue to play out in real time. Adam straightened his jacket and looked directly into the camera. When he spoke, his voice was calm and controlled, but there was steel underneath it. To everyone watching at home, I want you to know that I came here today excited to talk about my music and my tours. I didn't come here to have my career questioned, or to be made to feel like I don't deserve my success. Kelly was sobbing now, completely overwhelmed by the situation she had created. Adam, please don't do this to me. Adam turned back to her, and his expression was almost pitying. Kelly, I'm not doing anything to you. This is the consequence of your own actions. You chose to go down this path with your questions. You chose to dismiss my concerns. You chose to escalate this situation. Instead of de-escalating it, these are the results of those choices. I'm sorry, Kelly whispered, barely audible. I believe you are sorry, Adam replied. But sorry doesn't undo the damage that's been done here today. Sorry doesn't take back the implications you made about my career and my authenticity. Sorry doesn't erase the fact that you told a successful artist that he was being too sensitive for defending himself. With that, Adam started walking toward the exit. The cameras followed him, capturing every step of his departure. The studio audience was completely silent, watching this unprecedented moment unfold before their eyes. Kelly called after him one more time. Adam, wait. He paused at the edge of the stage and turned back to face her. Kelly, I've spent my entire career proving that I belong in this industry. I've worked tirelessly to earn the respect of my peers and my fans. I'm not going to sit in your chair and let you undo all of that work with your loaded questions and dismissive attitude. That wasn't my intention, Kelly said weakly. Maybe not, Adam conceded, but intention doesn't matter when the impact is this destructive. You hurt me today, Kelly. You disrespected me in front of millions of people, and when I tried to address it, you made it worse. The silence in the studio was absolutely deafening. This was uncharted territory for daytime television. Guests simply didn't walk out on major talk shows. They didn't call out their hosts on live television. They didn't refuse to continue interviews, no matter how uncomfortable things got. Adam took one last look around the studio, his gaze settling on Kelly for a moment. I hope you learned something from this. Kelly, I hope you realize that your guests are human beings who deserve to be treated with dignity and respect, not props for you to tear down for entertainment value. And with that final statement, Adam Lambert turned and walked off the set of The Kelly Clarkson Show, leaving behind a sobbing host, a shocked studio audience, and what would undoubtedly become one of the most talked about moments in daytime television history. The cameras continued to roll as Kelly sat there alone on stage, tears streaming down her face, completely unable to continue with the show. The production team was scrambling. The audience was buzzing with shocked conversation, and somewhere in America, millions of viewers were witnessing the complete breakdown of what was supposed to be a simple promotional interview. This wasn't just a celebrity meltdown or a diva moment. This was a masterclass in standing up for yourself when someone tries to tear you down, even if that someone is supposed to be on your side. Adam Lambert had shown that there are some lines you don't cross, and some disrespect you don't accept, no matter who you are or what the consequences might be. So there you have it, folks. The day Adam Lambert said enough is enough and walked away from one of the most uncomfortable